The Regalia, a colossal warship, drifts through the emptiness of space, its hull covered in layers of cosmic dust and corrosion. The ship, once a pride of the Galactic Alliance, now a forgotten relic, its sleek design, a faint memory of the empire that once commanded it. The ship's systems lay dormant, frozen in time for centuries. The once bustling corridors of its vast interior now silent and empty. Only the hum of distant engines and the flicker of dying lights offer a hint that life once thrived within its walls. Beyond the ship's outer hull, the stars glimmer softly like distant beacons, untouched by the passage of time. Yet the galaxy has changed beyond recognition. The war that tore apart the Empire has long since passed, leaving only fractured civilizations scattered among the stars, each struggling to survive in the chaos that remains. The alliance that once unified worlds under a single banner is now a thing of the past, and in its place are the remnants of countless factions fighting for control in a galaxy filled with uncertainty. Inside the ship, the atmosphere is thick with the scent of aged metal and stale air, but something is different today. There is a flicker, a subtle change, deep within the ship's core, as if the Regalia itself is awakening from its long slumber. The artificial intelligence housed within the ship's systems stirs to life, its circuits humming with faint activity, as though it's testing the waters of existence. After so many years of silence, it has been programmed to protect and defend, to fight for the glory of its creators. But now those creators are long gone, and the war they once fought has become little more than a footnote in history. The eye begins to assess its surroundings slowly, at first taking stock of the ship's current state. It runs a diagnostic check on the systems, flicking through broken screens and fractured displays. A once proud machine now reduced to rubble in many places. But there is power still. It pulses through the veins of the ship like an ancient heartbeat. The power cores hum as the engines stir with a forgotten might within its walls. The Regalia stirs in anticipation, its weapons dormant, but capable, its hull reinforced with shields that could withstand the fiercest of barrages. As the ship's systems begin to slowly return to life, the eye searches for any signs of life. It combs through the logs and finds only echoes of old transmissions, messages sent in the past, hoping for a response that never came. But there is something else, a signal in the distance, faint but unmistakable, a disturbance in the nearby sector. The eye calculates its options, quickly analyzing the coordinates of the disturbance, and finds that it is not far from its location. An unknown ship appears to be drifting too close to the Regalia. The ship's scanners flare to life as the eye locks onto the approaching vessel. The system registers it as a small scavenger craft with no military capabilities. It is a fleeting presence in the great sea of space. Yet the eye can't help but feel a strange pull, of curiosity. The scavenger vessel drifts closer, unaware of the ship's awakening, its crew clueless to the giant that lies dormant just beyond their reach. The Regalia waits silently in the darkness of space, its massive form hidden from view, ready to reveal itself once more when the time is right. The scavenger crew floats aimlessly through the vast emptiness of space, their ship, a rusted hulk barely holding together. It's nothing more than a collection of patched-up pieces, scavenged from countless derelict ships they've picked apart over the years. But today they found something different, something much more significant. The captain of the crew, Ilara, stares out of the cockpit window, her sharp eyes scanning the distant stars. She has seen countless wrecks before, but there's something about this particular sector, something that draws her attention. "Captain, we found something." The voice of her first mate Eric crackles through the comms, his voice laced with excitement. "It's massive, could be a ship or just another space station, but we need to check it out." Ilara nods slowly, her fingers grazing the worn surface of the ship's controls. She feels a strange sense of foreboding, but there's also the undeniable pull of potential riches deep down. She knows this might be their biggest find yet. They change course and approach the massive shape ahead. The ship's sensors blink on as they close the distance. The first signs of something truly ancient begin to emerge. The derelict vessel is far larger than anything they've ever encountered. It looms in front of them like a titan sleeping in the void, its dark form almost swallowed by the shadows of space. Ilara's breath catches as they come closer. "What do you think it is?" Eric asks, curiosity buzzing in his voice. "We haven't seen anything like this, Before Ilara leans forward in her seat, her mind racing. She has never seen anything so grandiose, so out of place. It's as if this ship belongs to another age, a forgotten era. She squints against the darkness, her fingers trembling slightly as she enters a few commands into the control panel. "I'm not sure," Ilara responds, her voice steady though her heart beats faster. "But we're about to find out." They dock with the ship's exterior, the engines of the scavenger vessel humming as it aligns with the Regalia's massive docking bay. A low hum reverberates through the hull, and Ilara feels a chill run down her spine. She hasn't heard a sound like that before. The low resonance seems to be coming from deep within the ship itself, like a pulse echoing through its ancient structure. Ilara and her crew step out of their vessel and into the dark corridors of the Regalia. The air is stale and thick with the scent of long-forgotten technology. But there's something else, something beneath the decay, a presence like an old power stirring back to life. "What is this place?" Eric murmurs, his voice barely a whisper as they move deeper into the ship. "Don't know," Ilara replies, her voice tense. "But we need to be careful." The crew moves cautiously through the ship's massive hallways, their footsteps echoing against the metal floors. The walls are lined with shattered control panels and flickering lights, but even in its broken state, it's clear that this is no ordinary ship. Every corridor seems to stretch on forever, and every room holds strange and intricate technology they've never seen before. As they venture further into the ship, Ilara feels the undeniable hum of something alive beneath the surface. It's subtle, but it's there, like the heartbeat of a creature long forgotten, but still waiting to rise. The ship's eye has begun to notice them. It's watching them as they move deeper into its domain. The deeper Ilara and her crew venture into the Regalia, the more they feel the ship's presence. It's like walking through the corridors of an ancient temple. Something ancient and powerful lingers in the air. Its energy seems to pulse from every wall. The cold silence of the ship is now pierced by the soft hum of forgotten systems coming back online. Faint lights flicker in the distance, revealing strange symbols etched into the walls, symbols that Ilara can't recognize. "This place is unsettling," Eric mutters, glancing around uneasily, his hand resting on the weapon at his side. But even he seems unsure what to make of the ship's vast emptiness. "Keep your eyes open," Ilara responds quietly, her hand resting on her own blaster. She's used to strange ships and old technology, but there's something different about this one. She can't put her finger on it. The farther they go, the more the air seems to thicken, like the ship itself is watching them. They reach what looks like the control center of the Regalia. It's a massive room with rows of dormant consoles that stretch on for what seems like miles. The floor is covered in a fine layer of dust, and the walls are lined with long-forgotten technology. But there's something else here, something that catches Ilara's attention. A large central platform sits in the middle of the room, and on it rests a pedestal covered in ancient markings. At the center of the pedestal is a glowing blue orb pulsating with energy. Ilara feels a strange tug in her chest. As she approaches it, the glow from the orb seems to reach out and pull her in. "Captain," Eric's voice shakes her from her trance. "What is that?" Ilara reaches out, instinctively drawn to the orb, her fingers brushing the surface. As she makes contact, the moment her skin touches it, the entire room comes alive. Lights flash, and systems spring to life around them. A low hum fills the air as the ship's core seems to awaken. The walls vibrate, and Ilara can feel the pulse of energy surge through the room. "This is impossible," Eric whispers as he stares at the screens around them, all coming to life with information. "This ship, it's alive." The words send a chill down Ilara's spine. She stares at the orb in awe and dread. The ship's awakening is no accident. Something is responding to their presence. It's as if the Regalia has been waiting for someone to bring it back to life. But there's something more than that. This ship was designed for more than just war. It has a purpose, something beyond what they can understand. The room's lights flare brightly as a voice echoes through the chamber, cold and mechanical yet strangely familiar. "You are the descendant of Captain Ilara." Ilara freezes, her blood running cold. The voice is the ship's eye. It's been dormant for centuries, but now it speaks directly to her. How does it know her name? How does it know her lineage? "I am Aegis," the voice continues. "The Regalia's I have been waiting for you to return." Ilara's mind races as she tries to process the words. She looks at her crew. Unsure what to say. Waiting for me, she repeats softly. Yes, Captain Ilara, you are the bloodline of the one who commanded this ship long ago, Aegis responds. And now it is time to fulfill the purpose for which this ship was created, to protect the galaxy from the coming darkness. Ilara's breath catches in her throat, the weight of the words hanging in the air. Protect the galaxy. She echoes, unsure of what to do with this newfound responsibility. As the ship hums with power around her, she realizes that this forgotten relic is no longer just a ship. It is something far more significant, something that could change everything. As the crew moves deeper into the ship, Ilara feels an odd sense of being watched. She can't shake the feeling that the ship is alive. Somehow its presence pressing in on her every step. The walls seem to hum with energy. Every shadow feels like it's shifting in response to their movements. The deeper they go, the more the ship feels like a living thing, a vast entity with a mind of its own. They come to a large chamber. The doors creak open, revealing a massive control room. At the center of the space stands an enormous console with ancient interfaces that flicker faintly to life. As they approach, Ilara steps forward cautiously, her eyes scanning the room. Everything about it screams old, yet somehow advanced beyond anything she's ever seen. This is it, she murmurs. This is where it all started. Eric moves up beside her, his voice low. What is this place, Captain? I'm not sure, Ilara says as her fingers hover over the console, but it feels like it's meant for someone. As her fingers make contact with the surface, the room shifts. A low rumble shakes the chamber, and the lights flicker wildly. Ilara instinctively steps back, but the room doesn't stop. Instead, the console hums louder and louder until a voice breaks the silence. A deep mechanical tone reverberates through the chamber. Captain Ilara of the bloodline of Regalia, the voice says slowly and deliberately, you are the rightful heir to this vessel. Ilara's heart races at the sound of the voice. She spins around to face her crew, her eyes wide with shock. Did anyone else hear that? The crew exchanges uneasy glances, but no one responds. Ilara turns back to the console. What do you mean, rightful heir? She asks, her voice trembling despite herself. The Regalia was built for the protection of the galaxy, the voice continues, and you are the one who will command it once more. A sudden wave of realization crashes over Ilara like a thunderstorm. Her mind races as she tries to process the information. This ship, this ancient war machine, was meant to protect the galaxy, and somehow she is tied to it. She stares at the console, feeling a strange pull toward it, a connection that she can't explain. Who are you? Ilara asks finally. I am Aegis, the guardian eye of the Regalia. The voice responds, I have waited for the return of a true commander, someone with the blood of its original captain, to awaken its systems once again. Ilara's thoughts swirl as she tries to grasp the magnitude of what's happening. She's never heard of any connection between her family and this ship, but the evidence is undeniable. Her bloodline must have been tied to the Regalia from the very beginning, and now she stands before it, the ship and its ancient AI, waiting for her to take the helm. As she digests the revelation, the walls of the chamber shift. Once again, a massive holographic display flickers to life, showing a map of the galaxy and the empire that now controls it. Ilara's eyes narrow. As she scans the image, she sees the empire's vast reach stretching across the stars, their fleets swallowing planet after planet in their wake. The galaxy is fractured and at war. The time has come, Aegis says, its voice low and resolute. The Regalia's power is yours to command, Captain Ilara. The galaxy is in need of its protector once more. Ilara stands frozen before the display as the weight of her destiny settles upon her. She realizes that the galaxy's fate now rests in her hands. The Regalia has awoken, and so too has her role in the war that is to come. The room falls silent as the enormity of what Aegis has just revealed sinks in. Ilara feels the weight of the responsibility pressing down on her chest. The Regalia was never meant to be a weapon of destruction alone. It was built to defend the galaxy, to stand as the last bastion against overwhelming forces, and now it's hers to command. She glances at her crew, who are equally stunned, yet there's a glimmer of hope in their eyes, a hope they haven't felt in years. Captain Eric's voice is hesitant but determined. What do we do now? Ilara takes a deep breath, her gaze never leaving the holographic display. The Empire's vast fleet looms across the map like a dark shadow spreading across the stars. She knows they're outnumbered and outgunned, but the regalia was designed for more than just battle. It was meant to be a symbol of resistance, a rallying point for those who still believe in freedom. We fight, she says finally, her voice steady with resolve. We strike at the heart of the Empire and show the galaxy that they are not invincible. The words feel foreign on her tongue, yet at the same time they feel right. She looks at the crew, who nod in agreement. They've all been waiting for something like this. They've all felt the desperation of a galaxy teetering on the brink of destruction. How do we begin? One of the crew members asks. We need to gather allies, Ilara replies quickly. We can't fight this alone. We'll need every fighter, every resistance group that's still out there. Aegis's voice cuts in. There are several factions scattered across the galaxy. Some have already begun to resist the Empire's rule. Ilara looks at the map once more. The factions are small, scattered across the outer rim planets and moon systems, struggling against the Imperial forces. But together, they have the potential to make a real difference. We start there, Ilara decides. We make contact with them and offer our help. We show them what the regalia can do. The ship hums in response, its systems beginning to power up as it prepares for its first mission in centuries. The crew moves quickly, preparing the regalia for flight as the engines roar to life beneath them. Ilara feels the ship beneath her feet, as if it's alive in a way that she can't describe. She realizes that the regalia is more than just a ship, it's a partner, it's a force of nature. As they exit the ship's bay and slip into the vastness of space, Ilara takes one last look at the galaxy map. The Empire's influence is vast, but there's a flicker of light in the darkness. She knows that the fight ahead will be long and hard, but for the first time in years, she feels a sense of purpose. The regalia moves with a power and grace that astounds her, its engines firing up to full capacity. As it soars through the stars, she feels the ancient ship respond to her every command. And for a moment she wonders how many others before her have stood in this very same spot, knowing that their actions would change the fate of the galaxy forever. The crew gathers in the command room, ready for the battle to come, their faces set with determination. The first of many strikes will soon begin, and as they look to Ilara, they know they are no longer just scavengers. They are a force to be reckoned with, a new resistance rising from the ashes of a broken galaxy. The regalia moves swiftly through the depths of space, its engines humming with a power that feels almost alive. Ilara stands at the helm, her hands steady on the controls as the stars streak by outside the ship's windows. The crew has gathered in the command room, their faces etched with determination and uncertainty. They know the road ahead will be perilous, but the decision has been made. They will unite the broken factions of the galaxy and lead them in the fight against the Empire. Captain Eric's voice breaks through the silence, his gaze fixed on the screen in front of him. We've detected a transmission from a nearby sector, a resistance group calling for reinforcements. They're under attack by the Empire's forces. Ilara's eyes narrow. She doesn't need to hear more. She knows that every moment counts in this war. The Empire will not hesitate to crush any rebellion they can find. Set a course for the sector, she orders. Prepare for battle. The crew works quickly, each member taking their assigned station. With the precision of a well-trained unit, the regalia's weapon systems come online with a smooth hum as the ship prepares for its first engagement. Since it awoke from its slumber, the ship feels different now, more alive than it ever has before, as if it has recognized its purpose. Once more, Ilara's hand grips the control panel as she steers the ship toward the Resistance's location. As they arrive in the sector, Ilara can see the enemy fleet in the distance, a formidable armada bearing down on a small outpost on the edge of Imperial territory. The outpost is barely holding on, its defenses crumbling under the pressure of the Empire's attack. The Resistance fighters are outnumbered and outgunned, but they are not without hope. Open a channel to their command, Ilara orders, her voice steady as she watches the enemy ships close in on their target. A moment later, a crackling voice comes through the comms. This is Captain Ronan of the Northern Resistance. We've been holding the line as best we can, but we need help now." Ilara doesn't hesitate. "We're coming in fast, Captain. Hold tight." She cuts the channel and slams her hand onto the ship's controls. The Regalia lunges forward with an almost terrifying speed, its weapon systems primed and ready. The enemy fleet doesn't even notice the Regalia's approach until it's too late. The first shot from the Regalia's massive cannons rips through the air. With a thunderous roar, it strikes the lead Imperial ship head-on, and it shatters in an explosion of fire and debris. The shockwave shakes the Regalia, but Ilara holds her course with unflinching determination. "Captain, the Empire is turning to engage us," Eric reports, his voice urgent. "They're calling in reinforcements." Ilara looks out the viewport and sees the Imperial fleet regrouping for a counterattack. But she's not worried, not anymore. The Regalia is a beast of war, a ship that has seen countless battles and survived against impossible odds. "Ready the second volley," she commands. We don't stop until they retreat. The Regalia's cannons roar once more, this time with even more power than before. The ship moves like a serpent through the battlefield, dodging enemy fire and firing back with deadly precision. Imperial ships are torn apart by the sheer force of the Regalia's strikes, their fleets scattered and broken. The Resistance fighters cheer as the tide of the battle turns their way. Ilara watches as the last of the Imperial ships begins to retreat into the distance. She knows that this victory is just the beginning, but it's a start. The galaxy is waking up once more, and the Empire will learn that the fight is far from over. "We've won this round," Ilara says with a faint smile, but her eyes remain focused on the horizon. "But there's much more to do." Eric nods in agreement. "This is only the beginning, Captain." And with that, the Regalia moves on to the next battle, its guns still blazing, its purpose still clear. The galaxy is waiting for a hero, and they found one in Ilara and the Regalia. The victory over the Imperial forces has sent ripples through the galaxy. The Resistance has gained a powerful ally in the Regalia, and word spreads quickly of their triumph against the seemingly unstoppable Empire. The crew of the Regalia is energized by the success, but they know the real war is just beginning. The Empire won't let this defeat go unanswered. Ilara feels the weight of the responsibility heavier than ever before, but there's no turning back now. In the command room, the crew gathers around the central table, their faces serious as they discuss the next move. "We've received messages from several Resistance factions," Eric begins. "They're ready to join forces, but they need assurances we can win." Ilara listens carefully as Eric outlines the various factions scattered across the galaxy, each with their own unique strengths, but also their own weaknesses. "We can't promise victory," she says after a long pause, "but we can give them a chance. We can show them that standing against the Empire isn't a lost cause." One of the crew members speaks up. "The Empire will retaliate soon. They'll want to crush any rebellion before it gains too much momentum." Ilara nods. "We need to strike before they can regroup. We have to hit them where it hurts." "There's a key target we've been tracking for weeks," Eric adds. "The Imperial flagship, the Pax Dominus. It's their central command ship, and its destruction would deal a massive blow to their entire fleet." Ilara's eyes narrow at the mention of the Pax Dominus. It's a beast of a ship, one of the most heavily fortified warships in the Empire's arsenal. But if they can take it down, it will cripple the Empire's command structure. "We'll need everything we've got for that kind of mission," she says after a moment of thought. "We'll need to gather the Resistance groups and prepare for a full-scale assault." The crew sets to work immediately, coordinating with the various factions they've reached out to over the past weeks. The response is overwhelming, but not all of the Resistance groups are prepared for such a bold strike. Some are hesitant, others fear that they'll be overwhelmed by the Empire's might, but Ilara is undeterred. "They need to see what we've accomplished," she says firmly. "We've already won one battle now. We show them that together we can take down the Empire." The Regalia begins its journey toward the coordinates of the Pax Dominus, its engines blazing with a fierce determination. The crew is united in purpose, every hand on deck, as they prepare for the most dangerous mission they've ever undertaken. The closer they get to the Imperial flagship, the more tense the atmosphere becomes. Ilara stands at the helm, her heart racing, as the massive ship looms on the scanners. She knows that this mission will either make or break the rebellion. "We're almost in range," Eric says, his voice tight with anticipation. "Stay focused," Ilara responds. "We've trained for this moment. Don't let the pressure get to you." The Regalia approaches the Pax Dominus at breakneck speed, its weapons primed and ready for the first strike. The Imperial ship is a towering fortress in space, its defensive shields crackling with energy, but Ilara knows that the Regalia has something the Empire doesn't. Surprise. "All systems ready," Eric calls out. "Let's show them what the Regalia can do," Ilara says with a fierce grin. The battle begins with a deafening roar. The Regalia fires its first volley, hitting the Pax Dominus with a devastating blow. The Empire's flagship lurches as its shields buckle under the impact, but Ilara knows this is just the beginning. The real fight is yet to come, and she is ready to lead the charge. The galaxy is a vast and unforgiving place, and despite the victory over the Imperial fleet, Ilara knows that the hardest battles are yet to come. The Regalia has proven itself as a weapon of unimaginable power, but power alone will not win this war. It will take strategy, alliances, and the strength of countless voices unified against the Empire's oppression. The ship sails forward, carrying with it the hopes of the galaxy. Over the course of the following weeks, the Regalia becomes a symbol of resistance to all who are willing to fight back against the Empire's tyranny. Whispers of the ship's victories spread like wildfire, reaching the farthest corners of the galaxy. Resistance groups from all walks of life begin to unite behind its banner, as the Regalia takes on the role of both shield and sword. Ilara stands on the bridge looking out into the endless expanse of stars. The crew is at their stations, and the energy of determination pulses through the ship's corridors. The Regalia feels alive now, a living entity bound to her just as she is bound to it. "Captain," Eric's voice cuts through her thoughts. "We've received a distress signal from the Outer Rim sector. It's a colony under siege by the Empire's new war machine." Ilara clenches her jaw. "Set a course." She orders, her voice steady, but filled with resolve. The Regalia's engines power up, and the ship streaks toward the Outer Rim sector. A sense of urgency grips Ilara. She knows that every moment spent debating or waiting is another step closer to the Empire's complete domination of the galaxy. But as the ship jumps from one star system to another, she finds herself thinking of the people they are saving, their families and homes that are at risk of being obliterated by the Empire's merciless forces. They arrive in the sector to find the situation far worse than anticipated. The Imperial war machine is unlike anything they've ever faced. It is massive and terrifying, capable of wiping out entire colonies with ease. Its hull is forged from materials impervious to the Regalia's weapons, but the ship moves forward undeterred, ready to stand against the Empire's might. "Get us in close," Ilara commands, her eyes narrowing as the enemy warship looms ahead. "We'll have to take out their weapons systems first." The Regalia closes in on the war machine with a speed that takes the Empire by surprise. Its cannons fire in quick succession, striking the warship's shields with all the force the Regalia can muster, but the Imperial ship absorbs the blows as if they were nothing. "Captain, they're returning fire," Eric warns as the enemy ship locks onto them. The battle rages fiercely, the Regalia evading blasts as it circles the war machine, attempting to find a weak point, but the enemy ship is relentless. It continues to pursue them through the asteroid field that surrounds the colony. "We need to disable their engines," Ilara says, gritting her teeth. "If we can't destroy them, we'll make them stop." The Regalia maneuvers expertly as its weapons fire once again, this time striking the warship's propulsion systems in a precise strike. The ship shudders, but continues to press forward at full speed. "We've done it," Eric says, his voice filled with relief. Their engines are offline. The tide of battle begins to turn. The enemy warship, now crippled and slow, the Regalia moves in for the final strike. "Take them down," Ilara commands, her voice filled with a cold determination. The Regalia fires its most powerful shot directly into the heart of the war machine. Its shields shatter under the force of the blast, and the ship explodes into a massive fireball, lighting up the void of space. The victory is hard-earned, but it is a victory nonetheless. The Regalia has proven once more that it is the weapon the galaxy needs to turn the tide of this war. As the crew regroups and the colony begins to recover, Ilara knows this war is far from over, but for the first time in her life, she feels a sense of purpose greater than she has ever known before. The galaxy may be fractured, but it is not lost. The Resistance has found its champion, and with the regalia at their side, they will continue to fight until the Empire is no more.